random announcements I have to do because I have to. In case you missed the memo, YouTube decided we have to live stream on Twitch now. So we're over there and we're staying over there. Link in the description below. I will see you Wednesday night for Fallout Equestria Dead Tree with the developers of the game, 9 p.m. to 2 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Second, look out for RPG Warhammer 40k Day on Sundays from 3 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Both of these take place every single week. Come on out and see why everyone's talking about Wandering Sunrise and Cornflake. Next, I'm being published. Link to the book in the description below. Go on, you know you want to check out the book and see what goodies come with it. This includes a free print and some other extra stuff, as well as a discount if you order it before I actually have to pay for the publication. You can expect to see your copy in February. There's also a bigger discount if you order it for a public library. Lastly, just in time for Christmas, the Dockies are back. You guys asked for more. Several of you wanted them. Well, now you can. Both the safe for work and not safe for work versions, as well as a new mini version that's made to go with your plushies. Now, let's get on to the review. So hello everyone. Welcome to Warhammer 40k Adeptus Mechanicus.
It disgusted me.
I'm letting this play to get some review footage.
I craved the strength and certainty.
So we have that beautifully voice-acted intro to start us off. But when I actually get here into the game, so first off, let's turn some volume effects on. Awesome. So they did fix that. When I first got the game, that wasn't working. The options menu is the bare bones functional of what you would expect from a game, but the actual audio wasn't working when I first got it. After I reinstalled and verified the files, it now works. That's great. That's great. So remember that beautifully voice-acted cutscene you get at the start of the game? That's all you get. Now, some people have told me this is the XCOM of Warhammer 40k. I'm going to be honest. If this is the XCOM of Warhammer 40k has got a long way to go. It plays very much like XCOM back in the 90s. Which would be great if it didn't look so pretty. It's like they got halfway through the production value and then stopped. Am I saying this is a bad game? No, I'm not. I've actually played a fairly decent chunk of it. I've played over 10 hours. I've got some unlocks back here. I'm kind of disappointed that I can't recruit. First off, all my recruits are basically the same with the ability to... There's like no specialization here, really, because I can buy all of these potentially in whatever order I want for any particular recruit. I can rename these guys. That's nice. But what makes it so lackluster Can you tell me the difference in any of these guys? Any one of them? They get a portrait. That's it. The actual character models are all the exact same. I mean, hell, even the Skitarii Ranger is almost hard to tell the difference between the basic Tech Priest and the Skitarii Ranger. It's disappointing in that aspect. There's only one resource, Blackstone. And these missions, I'm not trying to be rude or overly critical, but I am not really told the importance of doing one over the other than the rewards I get. See, this seems like a very important mission because it's going to reduce my troop costs. This doesn't seem that important. From this one, from this one, from this one. And that sound effect you're hearing, that's not a sound effect. That muffled... You hear that, right? That's the in-game voices for your tech for these people, rather than actual voice lines. The majority of what you get is not going to be actual voice lines, sadly. This is the majority of what you get. That's it. That's your voice acting for the tech priest. You're reading this more than... There doesn't even seem to be a rhyme or reason to it. I'm gonna turn this up. I can't even access the game set. I can't access the game menu, by the way, when they're talking. I just can't access it. The entire story is delivered this way. But then the Necrons... When a Necron leader shows up... I'm skipping this now. When a Necron leader shows up, they have beautifully done voice lines.
Listen. Voice acting. Okay.
What is this? Flesh and steel combined. A mockery of both.
So...
When a Necron leader shows up, they give voice lines. Now this is where you're going to spend about half of your game once you deploy. Is walking around these Necron tombs. You see there's enemies here, there's some sort of puzzle here, there's event spaces here, here, and here. And then there's the 2 objective spaces that I have to reach. Here's my team. So if I go here, I'm given a decision. One of the voice... And these happen repeatedly. I like that they've done a rhythm, which is where you start the word off with the same letter to mean 3 different things for what you decide to do. And the effects are immediate. It is choice and consequence. Necron Awakening increased, which is bad. This is where I spend the majority of the game, is walking around making these decisions. Warning our presence has been detected. Which gives the Necrons a warning. The coerced communications pickup transmission played in adjacent binary adjacent Xenos language that can be interpreted as a terrestrial language. Originating from the next chamber is transmitted only to the local area. Observe, engage, approach. Let's attempt to answer, just see what happens. So then we get into the meat and potatoes of the game. Because this is where you're going to be spending a lot of your time. Battles. Now, unlike XCOM, which did have some frustrating RNG, but made for interesting moments, this game has no RNG mechanic, and instead can be described as, if I fire a weapon, it hits. Now to give you an example. There's no RNG to this. I just fire. It hits. That's it. That is... The difference here is if you have a dodge chance, which this character does. Other than that, every single shot you fire, you should expect to have hit the target. You can equip them with melee weapons, ranged attacks. I mean, this is kind of what I would have expected. And it's lore friendly to the Warhammer universe. Now, the problems I have here are there is no true diagonal movement. These two guys are actually blocking the walkway. Fully. There's no true diagonal movement. And again, dodge is king. Like, literally, dodge wins. Your cognition points indicate what you can use. So there's a very in-depth combat system here that I didn't realize was actually here when I played through this the first time. It's not visually appealing. It's not visually stunning. It's not going to win any awards for the visuals. Necrons, of course, resurrect when you knock them down initially, but if you completely destroy their bodies like I just did, they don't get back up. Now, I do have to normally scan the target, which, if I had the extra cognition points, I would show you. Cognition points are like action points. We're going to go and just burn this, because I really don't care about long-term things right now. I just want to get through the review to show you guys how everything works. So here's the defect with this particular weapon. I'm still going to hit my friend. But I'm saving them. So let's go ahead and save them. All ranged attacks are considered energy weapon damage. All melee attacks are considered physical damage. And when I scan a target, it reveals its stats. He has physical armor, he has 9 hit points, and now I know what he has for his hit points and armor. I still don't know his weapon or anything else about him, I just know his hit points and his armor. Fair enough. This is the game. This is what you're going to do for the majority of the game. I wasn't kidding when I said that there are parts of this game I think should be better. The majority of your gameplay is this tactical combat. It's not inspired. It's not gonna remake the toaster anytime soon for you guys with cyberdongs who want to slap your cyberdongs against a toaster. But it's not bad. I'm not gonna write home and say this is the best version of an XCOM style game I've ever played. However, I'm not going to say that the game is necessarily terrible. Now, this is my option to use cognition points to deploy my servitors and non-tech priest units who don't gain experience and who come pre-equipped. I'm not going to use my cognition points for that right now because I need them for the actual tech priests who are currently in combat. As you can see, ranged weapons are used when ranged and melee weapons are used for melee. You can't fire a ranged weapon when you're in melee, so we're going to shoot him first. And that's just kind of how this plays. There's definitely some depth to the tactics that you're going to be employing to win these battles. And that is the extent of the RNG, and this is the extent of the game. You're making moves around a grid similar to XCOM. Yes, very similar. Is it as good as XCOM? No. It is not as good as the XCOM 1 and 2 experience. It's less buggy. I'm not even going to deny that. It is significantly less bug-riddled. It has significantly fewer problems, and the things in the game actually work. I have no complaints about how the game actually functions whatsoever. This is one of the first times in a long time I've seen a bugless game. And for that to be one of my highest praises, one of the best compliments I can give this game, is kind of sad. But that's the truth. This is the first time in a long time I've been able to say that out loud and mean it. This is the extent of the game. This is it. I mean, it does get the feel of the Adeptus Mechanicus correct. How the presentation is the thing I have a problem with. But I'm gonna say this: it's not a $60 AAA title, so I can't truly complain about the presentation when I would have been expecting an indie developer to make this. Again, I've put over 10 hours into this game at this point. I genuinely feel like this is not a bad game. The visuals are a little dated. The gameplay itself is not very thrilling to watch. But the idea of the Adeptus Mechanicus exploring Necron tombs to gain Necron technology is very lore friendly. And there is a story that is unfolding. It's told to you in text. I would have preferred voice acting since there are a bunch of characters who are Necrons who get fully voiced lines. Alter, Shimmer, Skull, like Skull, and you're left with Defile, Sequester, or Shatter. Well, destroy the altar with demolition charges. Because fuck Necrons. A swarm of tiny scarabs constructs, scurrying all over the walls, chewing its casings. Mission complete. We're done. That's all you're doing. That is the extent of your mission. You have to pay for your units to be repaired. If they've been damaged, you get rewards for each and every Necron that you killed. You get a mission, and then you get your mission objective rewards, and then you find out how much further the Necrons are closer to awakening on the planet based on your own actions. We're at 22%. I've kept that percent relatively low, I think. And you get some statistics. That's everything there is. Is this something I can live stream? No. Unless my audience is super into watching very slow-paced, unthrilling, unimaginative gameplay, no. Is it refined? Yes. All of the aspects of this game function and work, and you have knowledge beforehand of what A is going to do that affects B and C. You were given all of the information. Let's just do an upgrade just so I can show you guys how an upgrade works. Let's do immune to attack of opportunity. So he gets an augment capacity, which lets me put something else on him, and he gets the ability to ignore attacks of opportunity and he moves faster. Done. That's how an upgrade works. Again, you only have one resource. And rather than building stuff, I mean, it says tech up here. You would expect you could research stuff. No. No, you cannot. Instead of that, you have to find or be given stuff or earn it through achievements. Everything in the game is unlockable. It's just a matter of time. And you picking the right missions from the right individuals. Now, I will grant it that they did do different noise effects for each one of them, and they do each have a different way of describing the events that are unfolding before them. I'm not going to deny that. They did a decent writing job here. There is a story here. The presentation of said story is not very good. The graphical quality of the actual battlefield is mediocre. Those are the two issues I have the most problem with. But as a game, as having played this, you've now seen a mission, you now understand how the upgrade system works. At any time, I can just I can take this off and slap something else on. I don't want to, but I could. I could just take this off and slap something else on. I could bring a tech priest with no weapons and nothing but support equipment. It's my decision. Would I recommend you getting this game? Would I recommend it? If you are absolutely looking for something Adeptus Mechanicus based, if you are absolutely behind the understanding that you are going to get a challenge, but it's not going to be the biggest challenge you've ever seen, and that you are going to not get the full XCOM experience that you think you should get, but you're only paying half the price of XCOM. So you're not getting the zoom down over the shoulder, wait for it, I have an 80% chance to hit, please bring this home or everyone dies moment. Hello, Mutant Centurion. Goodbye, Mutant Centurion. It's not going to happen. Everything is very cold, calculated, and logical. The only RNG you get is random damage generation. There's a huge story here. Having gone through 10 plus hours of gameplay, I can tell you that there is a huge amount of just additional missions and gameplay, and you just keep going. And every decision you make is a difficult one to make, and there's a lot of RNG behind your decisions. The combat RNG is gone. So, when I weigh everything here, this is actually a good game for an individual player. For me as a live streamer, I can't play this. I couldn't stream this unless there was just an overwhelming demand to see me do it, because visually it's not very appealing. There's not a whole lot of tension. All of it is very cold logic. So from a streamer standpoint, I can't stream this. This is not going to be something I can stream on a regular basis. It's not going to be something I can play through. This is not going to be something that I can just show off to everybody and be like, ooh, pretty, come, let's. It's not there. The game is very slow paced, the game is very deliberate, and the game specifically only hides things if you choose to let it hide those things from you. Otherwise, you can find out all the information and make the decision on a best informed choice, and it will always outcome the way that you expect. So I can't say this is a bad... I honestly couldn't say this is a bad game. I can say that it executes everything very well. The presentation and the wrapping is not very good, but the game itself is wonderful. And you would be missing out if you're a 40K fan and you chose to not play this one. I think that's the most ringing endorsement I've ever given. Okay, so I got 30 seconds. Sorry for the little interruption here. I didn't quite get this right last time. But here is the previous Brutally Honest review. Here is the brutally honest review of XCOM 2 from over a year ago, so you understand where I'm coming from. And I would like to throw some random thank yous out to some very specific people, all the people on my Patreon, as well as... Hold on, come on, load! Jeffrey Perigo, Michael Bones, Fop Doodle, Song of the Void, Anonymous Person, and Zane McAtee from my Patreon, my top tier patrons. These people are amazing and awesome, and that's everything, and I'm only 5 seconds over!